All right, everybody. This is Harvey Talks Prison, and this is part two of my interview with what to do with BiggLou. So I wanted to ask you, you guys have any of these in California?
What was that? Stinger?
Yeah, Stinger. Yeah.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I just did this morning. I did a live on San Quentin, but then I started talking about another reception center which I'm more acquainted with. But I was talking about we get on top bunk, because the way we do our stingers, we bust a light bulb.
Right.
And we use that, and it just screws in because it's old. So the light bulbs are just the string. Right. And I was talking about how the stinger, you have to get up there and hold a cup of water up there, or your the heat for your coffee or your soups. But what happened was they changed the water system because we were getting nasty water there. I mean, where it smelled, it come out black, it come out rust color, it come out orange, and yeah, it was gross. And they put a treatment center there, and whatever they did when they put that treatment center there, you had to put the coffee in the water in order for the water to heat, and you'd have to put the seasoning pack in the water in order for it to heat. Wow. So I don't know exactly what the reason for that is, but
so you've been to all the major prisons in California. I always hear about Pelican Bay, Corcoran, Folsom, all those prisons.
So I haven't been to Pelican Bay. I haven't been to Folsom, but I have been to Corcoran. I have been to Soledad. So the oldest one is San Quentin. I've been there twice. Old Folsom's the next one. And then after that, you have Soledad, Tracy, Chino, Vacaville, and then CMC East.
When I see pictures or videos of San Quentin, it kind of reminds me of the walls. There's a lot of differences, but there's a lot of similarities too,
Right. Yeah. So it's got that look. Prison. Yeah, that's what I was saying too about San Quentin. San Quentin's like 150 years old or something like that. It was opened up in 1852. So what is it, about 170 years old? But I was telling people, I go, yeah, it's the oldest in California, but it has nothing on like back east. I go, because California was, came along way later. You know what I mean? You figured you had the colonies, the New England states first, and then the southern states. The southern states, like you're saying, MSP, Missouri State Prison, right? They closed it. That place is pretty old too.
It was it was built in 1834. And right. It was the oldest operational prison west of the Mississippi until 2004 when they closed it down.
Yeah, see? Yeah, now they closed it. See, so San Quentin is about a little less than 20 years older, younger than that.
It's probably the oldest one now.
Yeah, and it's well, I think some of those ones like in New Jersey, I can't think of the name because they changed the name. I think it's called East Jersey something. They changed the names. Then you got that one in Massachusetts. It's pretty a lot of stories. Rowway, I think that's the one in New Jersey, I think. And then you got the one in Pennsylvania. You got some old ones over there, man. You got some old ones like from.
I'm talking about west of the Mississippi.
Oh yeah, well yeah, maybe. Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, but it's nasty, man. You see these big old huge rats and
oh, we had them too.
Man, I mean, they just live like they live like kings and queens with the chow hall, the back of the kitchen. I mean, you see them walking around even in the daytime, and they're huge, man. It's like, whoa, man.
When I first got to MSP, they used to tell me about rats coming up out of the toilet, and I never believed it until I actually saw it happen.
Ugh, nasty, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Worry about sitting down, on the.
Yeah. Well, there was underneath the sink. Because the way the San Quentin designed compared to the other reception center, DPI, they're totally different. Where the position of the toilet, where the toilet's at. San Quentin, the toilet's behind in the back of the cell. But there was maybe a hole about like that underneath the sink, and rats used to come in through there. I never personally seen it because by the time I actually did time there, they already had put a metal. They put like a metal like an X there. You know what I mean? Where they can't get through. But man, just imagine that big old rat just comes in wherever he wants and you know, and then the prison, and then that's another thing I said too, that California only has 2 penitentiaries. They have San Quentin and Folsom, and that's because they're the only 2 places that have bars.
Right.
Everybody else is their doors. They're either doors or they're dorms, you know. So it's, you know,
Yeah,
people like to distinguish that too, the difference.
MSP was the only penitentiary we had, you know, and after that, they was just called correctional centers, you know, especially the new.
Right.
You know?
Right. Institutions or something like that.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Have weird
Exactly.
names to them, you know.
Yep. Exactly.
So,
Exactly. Yep.
so how old were you when you first went to prison?
I was like 20.
Yeah, I think you
20.
said yesterday you was like
Yeah.
20, and
Yeah, 20.
so you when you first entered, what was you thinking? I know when I first entered, me myself, I was scared. I ain't gonna lie, you know, I was terrified.
Well, yeah. Well, I wasn't so I wasn't really scared, to be honest, because uh I already been getting schooled since I was like 15, 16 years old on the life, you know, in there, how to conduct yourself, the rules. I mean, I knew a lot of stuff. Plus I had older cousins that were well known in the system. Uh, you know, and the reason I'm saying that, I'm not trying to make myself sound like a badass or nothing like that, but when you go to the reception center, you know, it's pretty much, you know, maybe it's like two counties north and like maybe 3 counties south that go there as well. You know what I mean? And you're gonna see, and because where I live, Stockton, it's a big place, 300,000 people. So you're gonna run into people there, you know, for
Right.
sure. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I knew that I was gonna run into cats that I knew, older cats, because the cousins that I'm speaking of that schooled me, they passed away, both of them, but Jimmy was born in 57, so he would be 65, and then brother Anthony was born in 58, so he'd be 64. So I'm 44, so these guys are 20, 20 years plus older than me. So all the cats that they hung around with, I knew them all. So I knew I was gonna be running to these older cats that were well schooled as well, and I knew that I would fit in, and I knew I didn't have nothing to worry about. You know what I mean? Now, don't get me wrong. There's been times where something happened, and we knew that we were gonna come out and get our get backs. You know, so yeah, I mean, everybody would be on the toilets lined up. You know, like we're in the gym one time, and I remember there was about 15 of us, and like 10 of us were all on the toilet at the same time because we knew it was going to crack when the door, you know, it was going to pop off as soon as we went outside, you know. And there's different times, you know, and then of course you get put in that position where they want you to book somebody, you know. That's not a good feeling, you know what I mean? I don't care who, you know, especially early on. Yeah, so I mean, I wasn't initially nervous or scared when I went in, but there was points where, you know, that was true, you know what I mean?
That was like
did
me,
happen.
even after I got established and everything, you know, and I had these old heads took me under their wing, you know, and schooled me out, and I'm so thankful for that. But later on, like you said, after I was established and you knew something was about to happen, you know, it's not necessarily that you're scared, but you're kind of anxious. You're ready, you know, and because you don't know what's going to happen, you know.
I was nervous for sure, because not only you got to worry about who you're getting into it with, you got to worry about them guys up in the tower that are going to be shooting you with stuff when you're not even, you know.
Exactly. And
right. So
and
yeah,
you
it's
know,
not.
in big situations like riots and stuff, you know, it's not always clear who's on what side, because you know it could be somebody you thought was close to you and he ends up stabbing you, you know.
Yeah, well, when it comes to that here, it's a little different, because you know, if you don't know and you go getting the wrong person that doesn't belong to the issue, you're messing up, and they'll because they're real big on your awareness. So you're always supposed to be aware of who's who, where they're at, stuff like that, right? And that goes to let's see, how can I put this? That goes to like when you're you get put on you could be put on the squad. You can have a position. Let's put it that way, a position. You could have a position within your peoples, and it's your duty and part of and exactly what it is, duty, DNRs, your duties and responsibilities. And for you to always know where they might give you 3 guys, and you always got to know where those guys are at, and you have to go report to your squad leader and let them know where these guys are at, you know,
Yeah,
your
see,
targets.
see,
So
here's a little bit different, and I guess I kind of explained it. But there's clear lines, you know, because it's usually a racial thing or something like that that breaks when something big breaks off. But you'll always have somebody that uses it as an opportunity to get revenge on somebody. You know what I mean?
yeah, I
Yeah,
got you.
right.
I got you.
Because so
Yeah,
it
well, that was,
could be somebody from
yeah,
your own race that has an issue with you, and he's going to take this opportunity. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, usually how they do that with here with, you know, usually it's somebody at some point might have been just a squad member, right? Or maybe just even not even a squad member, maybe just a household member, and then eventually they move up the ranks and they become something else, and they might ride somebody, or if they end up getting made, um, you know, if they end up getting put, you know, become a real member, organization member, they can remember that in the back of their head and then try to get you back, you know, have you go on some type of suicide mission or just who knows, you know, to
All
get
right.
you back, retaliate back
Oh, I see
against you.
what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah,
See
yeah.
you on it
So you
like
hear about,
that.
yeah, and then you got internal politicking, and it gets ugly, man. It gets
Oh, yeah.
ugly.
But you know,
You know what I mean?
I was thinking about earlier what you was talking about, how you knew people and stuff in there. I could go back to prison now, and like when I first went to prison, I didn't know nobody, you know. But I
Right.
could go if I was to go back now. It didn't matter. It doesn't matter what prison they send me to. I'm going to know somebody. You know what I mean? And
How many, how
that's
many
just.
prisons are in Missouri?
I think there's like 20 some. There's a lot of them, but
Oh,
they built a lot of them like in the 90s, in the 2000s. They started just building a bunch of prisons.
yeah,
But I I've been in prison so long that it doesn't matter where they send me. Pretty much, I'm going to know somebody. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
There's be somebody there I know.
Right.
But I have a friend. He called the other day and he goes, "You won't believe." He goes, "There's so many new faces. You know." He says it's different than when you was here. He said, "There's only going to be a few people you recognize." You know.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, because all those old heads are all passing on.
Yeah.
Well, you know, or they're
Get,
getting out, or they're getting out. There's,
getting
like I
out,
mentioned the
passing
other day,
on, or whatever.
right, right. I know of like three guys right at the top of my head. They did 40 plus years. Well, no, I'm taking that. I know. Let me take that back. I can name you like 10 guys right now that did 40 years or more, and they all out now. You know, they're in their 70s. Some of them are sick, but they're out, and you know, a lot of them passed too, though. You know.
It's really interesting talking to you and actually hearing somebody that's been in the prison. You know, I've read stories from other people that's been in prisons and stuff, but here you are, uh, talking face to face with somebody who's been. And I've always been fascinated by the California, well, any prison, you know, outside of Missouri. I've always been
Right.
interested in how they work. But you know, you always hear about California. You know, at least
Yeah.
out here, you always hear about California or Angola and Louisiana.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Hey, they got some. I watched a documentary on there, and that warden, he's not there no more now. He's done moved on to. I think he's the. I think he's actually, I think he went to another state. The little chubby white dude, older white man,
All
and
right.
he's the one that started the rodeo over there, and a successful program. You know, all the money goes back to the. You know, they make a lot of money, and it goes back into you know, into the
Prison.
inmate trust account, yeah,
Yeah.
into the prison and stuff like that. But I believe he moved on to I think another state, and he's the superintendent of corrections for that state. Or yeah. But it's not Louisiana no more. I believe he moved to the next state over. I don't know if north, south, or what, but one of the states over. But yeah, same thing with me. Like I started, you know, uh, interested usually in like Chicago, you know, like Chicago, you know, Cook County Jail, Rikers
Right.
Island.
Yeah, that's
You know what I
another
mean?
one you always hear about. Yeah.
Yeah, both of those places you hear about LA County Jail all the
Yeah.
time. You know, but Angola sticks out. Yeah, Angola has a lot of guys that been down 40 years, 50 years. They're still there kicking.
Yeah, I said
And
most people that are in that prison, they don't make it out. You know, they end up
right,
burying them. They got like a graveyard or something there. You know.
exactly what I was gonna say right now. So I watched the old man had been in there since sometime in the 70s, and his grandson came through, and they had never met in person. And the first time they met was in prison, and he had like a trustee job where he was the one that drove the carriage around when the dead body, with the casket in it. He would drive the carriage around with the horse and buggy, however you state that. And he was a trustee, and they let him come to the area where his grandson, they let him talk. The warden did. So it has a lot of good, a lot of, real life stories, some sad, some, some, you're kind of like you said, they don't make it out. You're kind of forgotten, some sense.
But
you've been there 40, 50 years.
I was talking to, remember I was telling you about SA? Remember how I used to joke with SA? I was talking to him about, when I was still in prison, talking to him about the California system. He goes, oh man, he goes, I don't think I could make it out there. And I said, why is that? You think it's too violent? He goes, no, I ain't worried about that. He goes, but man, I got friends of all races, man.
Yeah, yeah, man. I always seen, like I was mentioning earlier, that couple counties north, couple counties south go to the same reception center. So there's going to be guys from your town, from your county, that you're going to see there. That's not with your car. And when you see them, you can just, what's up? You can't go up to them and embrace and like, hey, what's up, man? You can't do all that because it's taken as like a breach in security. You know what I mean? And they want it where you're not friendly with people. Where like when it comes down to it, you won't hesitate to put some violence down because you became friendly with somebody. It is what it is, man. But everything in California is done everything's by race, man. Everything.
I've heard of people having to stab people that they was friends with out in California just because they was a different race, or that a hit was called down on a person or something. I'm thinking, damn.
Well, most of the time they're always going to have, if you can get close to the person without them suspecting anything, then you'll be called upon. You know what I mean? That's usually how it works. Unless you owe some type of cleanup, and then your number comes up that way. But most of the time, it's people that can get close to you without you suspecting anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? Usually how it goes. So.
That's why that happens. Is people they know, so they're able to get close to them.
Right. And I've heard of family members doing it, best friends, cousins. I've heard of people from the same town that known each other forever.
But I read this thing on, I think it was on Reddit, and this guy had done time in California. He goes, it's not as bad as people making it out to be. As long as you stay with your own, do your own thing, don't get involved in everybody's business, you'll be okay. And I'm thinking, that's not what I'm hearing.
Well, for the most part, as far as you getting yourself in trouble, that's all true things. But what you got to keep in mind is what he's not telling you is there is no one-on-one fights in here. Especially if it's another race. No, so if one jumps, everybody got to jump. So a lot of times you're getting into squabbles and wrecks and things like that because of one guy might owe a drug debt or a gambling debt or just something like that, where you have to, because you're a white dude and he's a white dude, you got to ride. You know what I'm saying? That's what he's not telling you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that explains a lot. See,
yeah,
there was a guy here in Missouri that he was from California, and I got into it with this guy one time and started fighting with him. Well, me and him had become cool. Well, he started fighting me, and he was kicking him and everything. I said, dude, what are you doing, man? And because to me, I'm used to, like, if it's one-on-one, let be on one-on-one. Don't jump in unless other people jump in, And he tells me later, man, he goes, dude, he goes, I got involved. I had to. He goes, you and I rode together. He said, I could not do that. And I said, what are you talking about? And he was just like, he couldn't figure out where I was coming from.
Right. Exactly. See, what we call that is, we'll do what we got to do now, and we'll ask questions later.
Right.
He'll ask you later on, like, what was that about? But he'll get into it and help you out. You know what I'm saying? That's the mentality.
He sure did, and I couldn't figure out why he
Right.
did that. You know, and
Right.
what you
Right.
just said makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So exactly, it's. I'm gonna do what I got to do with you. Let's do it, and we'll find out what that was all about later on when we're in the hole. We'll ask each other what happened. What was that about? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And
See,
yeah. So
in Missouri, say a young guy comes in and he might be getting pressed or something. You know, the other guys will tell him, "Hey, man, we can't fight your fight, but we'll have your back. We'll make sure nobody else gets involved." You know, and so
right.
he either goes out there and handles his business, or he backs down, and everybody, if he backs down, nobody's gonna mess with him. You know, you're on your own.
Right. Right. You got to show heart. Yeah. You got to show heart for yourself before anybody's gonna step up for you.
Exactly.
You
That's the
know,
way
you
it
can't
is.
say, "Oh my God." You
Right.
can't say, "What? Oh my God, he wants to take my stuff, or or he's taking my stuff from me, or whatever, my shoes, my whatever." You
Right.
got to stand up for yourself, man. And then if you stand up for yourself, then
Everybody,
we got
yeah,
your back. Nobody's gonna jump in,
that's
but
the
you
way
got
it
to
works.
stand up for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. So and that's what I mean when I say here in California is the booty bandit shit. That's a no. Nobody. Everybody looks down on that. Not only they look down on it, you'll get hurt for doing
Right.
such, and you got to go. There ain't no they're gonna try to hurt you. They're gonna try to take your win. If you're doing anything like that, they're gonna get you up out of there, and you're not ever gonna be welcome back. You know what I'm saying? And then another thing too, prison jailhouse thieves, no.
Right.
You
Exactly.
know, and I hear some people say, well, if they don't take it when they're not looking, take it when they're looking. But even that is not
No.
it's got to be a legitimate reason. Like if you're rolling the dude up out of there for something, then you take his stuff. That's different. But you're not gonna just go up to somebody and just take their stuff. They don't allow that. It's none of that. Now, county jail, it might happen here and there, but once you get to a full-fledged functioning prison, that's not happening.
Yeah,
You
we
know what I mean?
for at least while I was in, thieves are looked down upon. You just don't go steal people, especially if you do it while they're not in their cell or something. You go in there and take their stuff. That's cowardly. That's the way we look at it. But
Yeah.
we look down on thieves, and even like cell robberies. People going in there and just putting a knife to somebody, because when I got to prison, you didn't pull a piece on somebody unless you're going to use it. You just don't do that. If you pull
Right.
it, you use it. And you got these guys nowadays pulling it as an intimidation thing. No, dude. You know,
Because 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 yeah, it's just like on the street. If you pull out that thing, you pull out that thing. They always say, don't pull it out unless you're going to use it. Okay, well, in there, you don't have one of those things, and that's the next closest thing, and you call it a banger as well, right? Uh, don't pull it out unless you're going to use it, right? And that's another thing too, because I've been hearing some channels or some stories, I should say, that they talk about keeping their piece in their waistband, in their sock, in their pocket, if they made a pocket in the inside of their sweats or whatever. Um, we're not allowed to do that. We're not allowed to do that. It's got to be secured at all times. And what I mean by secure is, you know what I mean?
right.
And literally when I say, and I youngsters to hear this, because I hear people say, "Oh, that's an exit only. That's not an entrance." Blah blah blah. But if you want to play when you go in there, because there's some people. Don't get me wrong. There's some people will try to be sneaky and do it their way, but eventually
Right.
they get caught. When
Right.
say they come and hit your cell, and there's a lot of other things that I really don't want to get into as far as when you get certain positions, part of your duties and responsibilities is you're constantly writing things, right? And
Right.
and the way I'll get a little deeper into this a little later, but you got guys' names on there, and if you get caught with that stuff, it's not going to be good for you. And same thing with the weapon. They literally have us practicing in the cell, squat and drop it in your cell. You know what I mean? So they want you ready when it comes down to you having to do that out on the yard. They want you to be able pretty much to have it mastered on how to, make it look inconspicuous and that word not suspiciously, just drop and get it out of your, and if you pass anything on to another homeboy and it has doo-doo on it, you're gonna get disciplined bad for that.
Right.
I mean, and you know, it all sounds funny, and it does, but this is
Well, it's
reality. Man.
serious.
This is
Yeah, I
reality.
already know.
Yeah, serious shit. If you want to go to prison, you want to play that life, you're gonna be doing things you don't want to do. And
Exactly.
those are just a couple examples on top of you having to, you know, stab somebody. Or so what they usually do is, if somebody's got to go, they'll send 3 guys, right? One's called the hitter, which is the guy that's going to stab or slice, and then you'll have, once he does his duty, you know, once he does what he got to do, he'll spin off, and then you'll have 2 guys that are called bombers, and they'll just keep punching the dude until he's down, and then maybe kick him too. You know what I mean? Just depends. But how quick the guards get, the COs get there. But what they do is, if they see a weapon, they will shoot you with the Mini 14 with the real bullets. If they see somebody on the ground and they're just getting kicked in the head constantly and they're unconscious, they will shoot you with the bullets, with the real bullets. Other than that, they'll hit you with that block gun from the tower. And you know, they have these new things too. When it hits the ground, it's disperses into small metal balls and stuff. They'll hit you with that too. So you know, this is all real life stuff, man. If you're not that type, because not everybody goes to prison is that type
Oh
of
no,
person.
they're not.
You know,
Yeah.
shooting pistols is one thing, you know, but when you're doing, you know, that's up close and personal. That's a whole nother animal. You know what I'm saying? And not everybody, yeah, it's not everybody's up for that stuff. You know what I mean? And you know, some guys do it out of fear because they're afraid that something's gonna happen to them. They say no, so they do it, and then, you know, and little by little, it's nothing to them. You know, some guys do something and it bothers them. You know, those are the ones that ain't cut out for that stuff. You know, but you're gonna be asked to do things that you know, even Xeroxing. They'll ask you to Xerox something. Basically, it just means copy it, right?
Right.
This is all gang intelligence, right? Like I was mentioning the other day about the NAQs 1s, NAQs 2s. Those are all written out. And let me see if I can show you guys what I mean by it. So it's let me see. So when you get your NAQs, oh shoot. When you get your NAQs, it's going to be on a paper. It's going to be on a regular pad of paper. I mean, a regular sheet of paper, the size, but it's going to be like this. Let me see if I can do this real quick. Give you guys an idea what I'm talking about. So, you know, the old-fashioned scrolls, right? The old-fashioned, back in the day, England, and, you know, they have the scrolls.
Right.
They have messages delivered in scroll. So the paper would be rolled up like a scroll when you get it, right? I'm going to just do it quickly. So it's going to be rolled up like a scroll, right? Like this. Paper's going to be rolled up, and it's going to be delivered to you on a fishing line. If we're on lockdown, but if a porter's out, he'll slide it to you, and it's going to be wrapped up in plastic, right? Like this, right? And then when you open it like the old-fashioned scrolls, like this, right? And you read it. And this is literally how wide it is. It looks just like this. Just like this. I mean, it's going to be a little longer because it's going to be the regular size paper, but it's going to have a border around it in pencil or pen. And then on top, it's going to say to new arrival. It's going to say from the casa, the house. And it's going to have what it is, which it'll say NAQ 1, NAQ 2. If it's embracement, enlightenment, directives, it'll be up there. And then it'll start off with the questions. Okay, so you see how narrow the paper is, right? It's not big at all. And you're gonna put in each bar, you see what I'm saying by the bars?
Yeah.
You're gonna write anywhere from 4 sentences to 6 sentences in each bar. It's mini writing, right?
Yeah, sure, small.
The best I ever got to was like 5 lines, 5 bars and 5 sentences in a bar. But that's you know, and you have to learn how to do it right. And they're gonna make you do it over and over again until you get it right. And you know, and you're gonna be trying to get letters written to your family and things like that. You're constantly gonna be called, hey, brother so and so, whatever your nickname is, brother. They'll call you brother so and so. You know, like me, big so and so, BiggLou. They'll call you out the window on the event, and there you go. Yep.
Session 2 is almost over. Can you believe it's been 30 minutes? I can't believe we've been on here.
Yeah. Hey. When
So
you get into it, man,
I guess we do another one
29
tomorrow.
minutes.
I guess we do another one tomorrow. If you
Yeah,
want.
whenever.
Yeah. Or you can get on.
Unless you want to do another one. Unless you want to do another one back to back. It's up to you.
Well, I think I'm getting ready to eat supper here in a minute, but do you want to come on my live tomorrow?
What time?
It'll be at 5 o'clock my time. We'd be able to do that.
7 my time.
No, it'd be
7 o'clock my time.
no. What time is it there now?
Over here is oh no, excuse me. 5 time, it's no 5, excuse me. 5 o'clock your time would be 3 my time.
Right.
It's 4:39 right now.
So would that be
Yeah.
good?
Okay. 3 o'clock. Yeah. I should be okay. I should be able to make it.
But if you make it, you make it. You don't, you don't. All right, man. Hey, thanks again for coming on, man. And that was really interesting what you were talking about. We're gonna have to get back into that. If you don't mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Matter of fact, maybe next time we do this one, I'll have one ready with the border and all that. So you can see,
that'd be cool.
You know what I mean? I could do it on a regular sheet of paper.
I've seen them over here in Missouri too, written real small. You can't hardly read it, you know?
Yeah. That's why they do it like that. That's why they do it like that. Yep. All right. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
See you next time.